I'm Tessa Marlowe. The smoke from the backyard grill made my eyes sting that hot afternoon in Orlando. The sun was so bright that the air looked like it was shimmering. Dad lifted his beer high and shouted, $100,000 for Logan to study fancy business in Monaco. Everyone cheered and clapped. I asked quietly, what about my editing class? Mom didn't even look at me. Tessa, you're not worth anything, she said. Her words hit me harder than the sun. I felt like a balloon that had popped. I threw the napkin on the table, grabbed my phone, and booked an Uber to Miami International Airport. No goodbyes, no tears. I just slammed the door behind me. 5 years later, Logan was scrolling by the same pool in Orlando when he saw my name on the Forbes 300 Richest Under 30 list. His voice cracked when he called Dad. How does she have all that? If anyone has ever told you that you're worthless, especially people who are supposed to love you, you know how that feels. This story is about what happens next. Share your story in the comments. Hit the like button and subscribe to see what happens next. I remember that Christmas when I was in 3rd grade. That was the year it became very clear that my parents liked Logan more than me. Logan had had his big Christmas the year before. The house in Orlando became a holiday spectacle, even though it was hot outside. Dad dragged a 12-foot fake Christmas tree from storage. Its branches were full of white lights that blinked to the music playing through the sound system. Guests came in silly sweaters, holding cups of eggnog with alcohol. Mom ran the gift opening like a professional. Logan sat on the carpet, grinning, as Dad handed him a shiny gold box. Logan tore it open and found a top-of-the-line drone with a 4K camera and smart sensors. This will teach you to aim high in business, kid, Dad said, messing up his hair. Everyone cheered and clapped. Relatives pulled out their phones to film him for social media, tagging him as the next big entrepreneur. Mom smiled proudly. He's got the spark, she said. Logan flew the drone inside, buzzing near the ceiling fan. Everyone laughed and clapped. My Christmas came the following year. Same big tree, same twinkling lights, but everything felt different. Dad handed me a plain envelope. Inside was a Miami Metro card with money for rides. Time to handle the city on your own, he said. It will make you stronger. Mom nodded. Self-reliance beats fancy toys. No drone, no excitement, just the card and a long lecture about responsibility. I pocketed the card and went to the patio while everyone focused on Logan practicing his thank you speech for his drone. The pool glowed under the patio lights, and I dangled my legs in the water, feeling the cool bite. That Metro card became my key to the downtown public library. I spent hours at the tech corner, learning editing programs on shared computers. I cut footage, added effects, and matched sounds. I learned to make my videos look amazing, even though I only had a small old phone. In high school, I made a mini documentary called Miami Street Life on a borrowed phone during lunch breaks. It won first prize at the district media fair. I printed the award slip and ran home to show Dad, who was washing the car in the driveway. Check this out. I placed first, I said excitedly. He peeked, drying his hands, and said, solid effort, but will it make money? Money matters. Winners bring in cash. Then he went back to washing the car. Mom heard about it while coaching Logan on his Model UN speech. Video stuff is cute, Tessa, she said. But focus on things everyone can see, like your brother's diplomacy skills. She never watched my video. Logan got nods and applause. My award went into a drawer beside the Metro card that had made it possible. The holidays went on like this. Logan got bigger, fancier presents, networking events, and attention. I got a Metro card and lessons in responsibility. I quietly kept improving my skills. The library computers helped me get faster at editing. My projects grew in quality, but no one at home noticed. Logan's trophies crowded the shelf, mine lived on old drives. When the Metro card wore out, I reloaded it with money from babysitting jobs. Being self-reliant was not optional. It was required. Years passed. The Uber drove me away from the smoke, cheers, and palm trees to Miami. Landing there felt like stepping into a new world. The warm, humid air wrapped around me like a promise of change. I wheeled my small suitcase through the busy terminal, my heart pounding. That's when I saw Aunt Celeste at the arrival's gate, holding a handmade sign that said, "Welcome home, Tessa." She hugged me tight. She smelled like coconut sunscreen and fresh laundry. "You made the bravest choice, kiddo. Let's get you settled," she said. Her condo looked over the turquoise waves of South Beach. It was a cozy 2-bedroom with colorful art and shelves full of old cameras. That night, she cleared out the guest room, fluffed pillows, and filled the mini fridge with tropical fruit. Stay as long as you need, she said, handing me a key on a seashell chain. This is your safe place. We sat on the balcony and watched the sunset paint the sky in oranges and pinks. I told her everything that had happened at the barbecue. She listened quietly, her eyes soft. They didn't see your value for too long. Here, you will see that you are worth so much more than they imagined. The next morning, Aunt Celeste made strong Cuban coffee and laid out a plan over breakfast tacos. She said, "Pain makes the best stories." She taught me to focus my energy into things people couldn't ignore. She had been a photographer who shared Miami's hidden spots online, and her advice became my lifeline. I stayed at her condo for weeks, looking for jobs during the day and brainstorming videos at night. She showed me free editing apps for my old phone. I turned blurry beach clips into mini movies that people liked. I got a job waitressing at a busy beach cafe. It was hard work. I carried heavy trays under the hot sun while tourists shouted orders. The tips were small, barely enough to help pay Aunt Celeste. But while working, I saw things I could film: neon art deco buildings, street performers juggling fire, and kids playing soccer on the sand. Aunt Celeste said, "Show the real life, not just pretty pictures." One day, I almost got tricked online. A manager said I could get money for editing videos, but wanted payment first. Aunt Celeste stopped me. "Real jobs don't ask for money first," she said. Her early work stories gave me courage. I kept making videos for TikTok about Miami. I filmed locals dancing salsa on the sand and added fun music. Aunt Celeste shared my videos, helping more people see them. People started leaving nice comments and telling me their own stories. My work was connecting with others. I spent nights editing with fairy lights glowing and waves crashing outside. Aunt Celeste helped me pick the best music and suggested ways to make the videos exciting. She said, "Make them feel your fire," and passed me tea for my sore throat from narrating. My old phone became my magic tool. Followers grew. One video comparing cheap beaches to fancy yachts went viral. I got better at multitasking, carrying food and filming at the same time. A rude customer once yelled, "Hurry up, girl." But I smiled and later made a small server life hack video. People loved it. Aunt Celeste celebrated every milestone with high fives and key lime pie. "You're building your empire your way," she said. I saved tips and small sponsorship money. Aunt Celeste's spare room became my creative space. I hung storyboards on the walls and put all my ideas in one place. She never asked about my family, but filled the space with love and laughter. She taught me that family isn't always about blood, it's people who care for you. One morning, I uploaded another video of a beautiful sunrise with inspiring music. Then I got my first brand inquiry. Aunt Celeste peeked over my shoulder and smiled. "See, the world is noticing you now." I felt excited and proud. All the work, nights editing, learning, and practicing had paid off. The future was bright, like the sun rising over the ocean. I had found a new family and a new home in Aunt Celeste's studio, and it felt amazing to finally be noticed for my hard work. Celeste's studio hummed with the steady crash of waves below. Sunlight filled the room, warming everything. I sat on the floor with my laptop, learning to make videos even better. Aunt Celeste helped me, saying, "Show your heart in your work." I stayed for a long time, learning, working, and creating, while the ocean whispered promises of new adventures. Every day, I found new stories to tell. I filmed children building sandcastles, artists painting murals, and families walking along the boardwalk. I edited their stories with music and effects that made people feel the magic of Miami. Slowly, my followers grew. People started sending messages asking for tips, and some even wanted me to make videos for them. I realized that every small moment I captured mattered. Every sunrise, every wave, every laugh became a part of my story. I wasn't the kid at home who was ignored anymore. I was creating something special, something real. And it all started with a small Metro card, a library, and a lot of hard work. I kept making better and better little pictures and short videos every day. I tried new ideas and worked hard to make each one more fun than the last. One night, I made a video showing Miami at night. It had bright lights, fast cuts, and fun music. People could see the streets, the beaches, and the big tall buildings all glowing. That video became super popular. 2 million people watched it in just one night. I couldn't believe it. My phone buzzed and buzzed. People started tagging their friends to watch it too. Big companies sent me messages asking about my work. The app that shows videos started showing mine to even more people. It felt like everything was exploding at once. Then Naomi sent me a message. She lived in Atlanta. She said, "Your videos are amazing. Can you help run our company's social media from home? I was surprised. Naomi owned a company that helped people who were famous online. She worked with influencers in big campaigns. I thought about it carefully. Instead of asking for money, I asked for part of the company. I wanted to own a little piece of it. Naomi said yes, and we made the deal with a video call. I packed a small bag with just the things I needed and moved to Atlanta. I rented a loft in the middle of the city. The walls were made of bricks, which looked cool and perfect for putting up pictures and plans. My first job was to fix the pictures for a beauty company. I planned everything carefully. I found stock photos, added animations, and layered effects on the images. When the pictures went online, the company's followers started liking and commenting much more than before. The engagement tripled. Naomi noticed and started giving me bigger projects. Soon, I worked on fashion campaigns and technology launches too. I wanted to create a brand for myself. I called it Tessa Edit Pro. I made a bright neon logo that looked cool. Over a weekend, I built a website to show all my best work. At first, money came slowly, but soon it started to grow fast. I began doing freelance jobs for $500 each. One job led to another, and soon it added up to thousands of dollars every month. The company's share covered the bills and tools I needed for work. I bought better software and built a big computer setup with 2 screens so I could work faster. I even hired a virtual assistant to help with emails. I took online classes to learn how to grow my business even more. I made ready-to-use templates for videos and sold them online. People loved them. In the first year, I earned 6 figures. That means I made over $100,000 in 1 year. I spent some money on advertisements so more people could see my work. I collaborated with other creators online. We made videos together and shared our audiences. That helped me gain more followers every day. Naomi promoted me to creative director. I started leading the team. We had meetings on Zoom. We used digital whiteboards to draw ideas and plan our projects. I suggested creating a subscription for premium templates, and people signed up fast. One quiet Tuesday, my business made over $1 million. It felt unbelievable. A major beverage company paid me for a video project, and that was a huge milestone. I saved money for taxes and used the rest to make the business bigger. I looked at houses online. I wanted to move back to Miami. After searching for a while, I found a beautiful penthouse in a tall building that looked like it came straight from Dubai. It had huge glass windows that showed the ocean and sky at the same time. The water seemed to blend with the sky. I bought it without even seeing it in person. The keys arrived in the mail. I moved in with only a few things. My desk faced an amazing view. I even found my old Metro card and put it in a new wallet on the marble counter. Everything felt like a dream. That evening, Aunt Celeste called me. "You did it, kid. I'm so proud of you," she said. Her voice sounded a little cracked, but it was full of love. I smiled. I started hiring more people to help me, video editors and project managers. My company, Tessa Edit Pro, became the go-to place for viral videos. Scouts from big companies emailed me to feature my work. I said no to interviews at first because I wanted to focus on making videos. My portfolio now has over 1 billion impressions across the internet. I also started teaching courses and masterclasses. They sold out quickly. My penthouse was full of my tools: ring lights, cameras, drones, and other video equipment. I spent hours on the balcony, planning new projects, brainstorming ideas, and thinking about new ways to grow my business. Slowly, my net worth climbed quietly. Aunt Celeste visited once. She looked around the space wide-eyed. "From a small apartment to this is all yours now," she said. We drank sparkling water and watched the city lights sparkle below. One morning, my phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. It was an unknown number. I answered. "Tessa, you're on the Forbes 300 list," said Logan, my brother. He sounded out of breath, like he had run upstairs. "We thought you didn't have much money." I leaned against the counter and stared at the ocean. Logan told me to check the article myself. He said Dad and Mom were reacting too. I ended the call. Texts started coming in. Dad said his company was in trouble because construction slowed down. He wanted advice. I deleted the message. Mom mailed me a letter. She wrote in looping handwriting that Logan was engaged, and my money could pay for the wedding, the ring, and other costs. I held the letter in my hand, crumpled a little. I called Aunt Celeste. She picked up right away. I cried a little. She told me, "Cry now, then decide. But make sure to set rules. You made all this by yourself. Protect it." I wiped my tears. I wrote back to Logan, "Congrats on your engagement. Handle your own things. To Dad, sorry about the company. Talk to experts. To Mom, no money for the wedding. Plan with what you have. I blocked their messages for a while to breathe. Logan tried video calling. I muted him. Dad emailed spreadsheets of debts. I ignored them. Mom sent wedding invitation designs. I ignored them too. Aunt Celeste called every day to check how I was doing. She told me her own stories about saying no to family when needed, which helped me feel stronger. Conditional love isn't real love, she said. Her words stayed in my mind. I unblocked them briefly to watch, and saw them getting desperate. I scheduled a session with Dr. Harper, a therapist, online. I talked about my guilt for 50 minutes. I realized their problems weren't mine. I didn't have to fix everything. No. Mom called the company line, but Naomi answered first. Mom said, "Think about your brother's future." Naomi transferred the call back to me. Dad left a voicemail at my apartment, but security flagged it. Logan sent messages through a cousin saying, "You're embarrassing us." I deleted everything. Aunt Celeste flew down for a weekend. We walked on the beach at sunset. The water was calm, and the sky was full of colors. She said, "Boundaries aren't walls. They're doors you control. You can decide who comes in and who stays out." She hugged me tight. "I'm proud of how strong you've become." I felt a wave of relief. Everything I had built was mine. I worked hard, made smart choices, and created something amazing. I realized it was okay to protect myself from people who only wanted my money. I could still love them, but I didn't have to let them take over my life. The city lights sparkled below as we walked back to the penthouse. I knew I could face the world on my own terms. My heart felt lighter. I had grown strong, and I had learned how to set rules for myself. I looked around my new home. It was full of tools, projects, and dreams waiting to happen. I was ready for the next challenge, but now I knew how to keep my happiness and success safe. I had worked hard, and now I could enjoy the fruits of my labor. I didn't need anyone else to define me. The ocean stretched forever, and so did my possibilities. I smiled at Aunt Celeste. "Thank you," I said. She smiled back. "You did it all, kid. You earned it." I sent a final group text to my family. I wrote clearly, no money, no surprise visits, and no meetings. I told them to respect this rule, or there would be serious consequences. I sent it to everyone, and then turned off all notifications so I would not see their messages. For weeks, everything stayed quiet. No calls, no texts, no visits. Then, a certified letter arrived from Mom. Inside were photos of Logan's fiancée, asking me to forgive and make peace. I looked at them carefully, then tore them up into little pieces and threw them away. I felt strong, but also a little sad. Around the same time, Dad's business partner contacted me indirectly. He wanted me to invest money in a new project. I politely said no. I did not want to get involved in anything that would connect me to my family. Meanwhile, Logan's posts on social media started to become bitter and angry. He was clearly frustrated that I was not responding. I thought about Aunt Celeste's advice over and over. She had always given me careful, wise words, especially when I felt unsure. Her advice helped me make decisions without getting distracted. My work team grew bigger, and we continued our projects without any interruptions from family drama. Our money stayed steady. I also gave money secretly to support people learning editing, helping students who might otherwise be told they are not good enough. I wanted to make a difference, but I didn't want any family ties to interfere. The big fancy party was coming soon. It was the Forbes 30 Under 30 Gala. Bianca in Austin was full of bright neon lights that changed colors with the beat of the music. I stepped onto the red carpet wearing a dark blue gown that sparkled slightly. Cameras flashed everywhere, and photographers called out for pictures. Inside the building, rich and smart tech people were busy with drink screens that showed videos and special information about their companies. Aunt Celeste arrived separately and sat quietly at the back in a dark blue blazer. I walked around, introducing myself to venture capitalists and giving out my business cards. Then a notification popped up on my phone. My family had been tagged in photos from the party. They had somehow gotten in. I saw them sitting at a tall table. Mom wore shiny pearl earrings. Dad looked around the room, scanning it carefully. Logan was scrolling nervously on his phone. They waved me over, as if I could help them immediately. I approached slowly. Mom grabbed my wrist and said, "Perfect timing. Logan's wedding needs money. The planner says the reception will cost $50,000. Dad leaned in closer. "Your network could open doors for us," he added. Logan avoided looking at me. "Yes, sis. Can you help us?" he asked. Aunt Celeste was watching quietly from a distance. She nodded at me, showing me to stay firm and not give in. I gently pulled my wrist away and said, "Enjoy the evening." Then I walked to the green room to get ready for my speech. The host announced the philanthropy spotlight, and it was my turn to go on stage. I walked up the stairs while the lights dimmed, and only one bright beam shone on me. I held the microphone tightly. "Ladies and gentlemen," I said clearly, "I am giving $100,000 to scholarships for students who want to learn editing, but were told they are not good enough." The audience clapped and cheered loudly. A projector screen showed information about how students could apply for these scholarships. I glanced at my family. Mom froze mid-sip of her drink. Logan buried his face in his hands and started to cry. Dad turned his chair away and looked very stiff, like he could not believe what was happening. I smiled politely and walked back to the floor, where people congratulated me warmly. The organizers confirmed that my donation went through successfully. Aunt Celeste came to meet me at the edge of the stage and said, "Their silence speaks volumes." I nodded quietly, understanding that my choice had already made an impact. My family tried to follow me through the crowd. Mom stopped me near the dessert table and said, "That donation was going to help us." Dad grumbled something about family loyalty. Logan sniffled but looked sad and heartless at the same time. Event staff came to help, guiding them toward the exits. Aunt Celeste stood firmly beside me, showing her support. I had made my choice, and I did not look back. After my speech, reporters asked me where the donation came from. I simply said, "No specifics." Aunt Celeste smiled and posed for a quick photo with me. I felt proud. I had used my money to help those who truly needed it, not just my family. We left the gala through a VIP exit, and the city lights glittered all around us. In the limo, Aunt Celeste said, "You gave to those who needed it the most." I felt a strong sense of calm and satisfaction. Fireworks exploded over the river, lighting up the sky. I said no to late-night invitations and went straight home. Aunt Celeste sent me a message about her arrival plans. From that night on, my family stopped trying to reach me. Months passed quietly. 1 year later, I was in Miami on the Seawind, a big yacht. The wind howled against the glass windows of the penthouse. I leaned on the railing and checked my tablet, looking at my quarterly business reports. Then a notification popped up. Dad's construction company had declared bankruptcy. He had borrowed too much money to build fancy condos, but the permits for the buildings were delayed, and buyers disappeared. Equipment was repossessed, and the office space was emptied. Logan quietly updated his work profile online. The hotel chain he managed closed after a corporate restructuring. He lost his job, and his severance pay was very small. His resume went online, but endorsements and references were outdated. Aunt Celeste called me every Tuesday evening without fail. She asked about the weather, shared little stories about her pottery class, and talked about neighborhood gossip. She never asked about my family. "Focus forward," she advised. These conversations made our bond stronger and happier. I kept zero contact with my family. I ignored emails from relatives saying they were struggling. I blocked any new phone numbers and cleaned my digital space to remove connections to them. Meanwhile, the scholarship fund grew bigger every year. Many students received help, learned editing skills, and some even got jobs with big brands. Each year, the gala streamed virtual testimonials from the students who were helped. My company, Tessa Edit Pro, also grew bigger. Our user base doubled, and more people used our tools every day. My life became organized but calm. I did yoga on the deck every morning, held strategy meetings with my team during the day, spent afternoons in innovation labs working on AI tools, and mentored students in the evenings. Public records showed my family's struggles. Their houses sold at a loss, and the money went to pay off debts. My parents moved into a small rental house. Mom started working in retail, and Logan worked at event venues, but their paychecks were not reliable. Aunt Celeste visited every month. We had rooftop brunches overlooking the marina. Life showed consequences for my family, but Aunt Celeste stayed by my side, offering steady encouragement without ever asking me to rebuild bridges. I thought about all of this during quiet moments. My business metrics kept improving, valuations reached 8 figures, and board seat offers arrived. My personal finances and philanthropy work continued to grow. I felt calm inside. One evening, sitting with the city lights flickering on, I spoke to the empty room. "They lost me," I said. "I lost nothing. Cutting ties with my family was the strongest act of self-love I could make. My world expanded, full of endless possibilities, and I knew my life would continue to grow in exciting and meaningful ways.